Level 85, our aching souls. The Ishgardian delegate seeks a battle mage with courage unwavering. My lady Zilly, I have awaited your coming. The phenomenon wherein men turn into monsters, it pains to say that Ishgard has not been spared. A dread blasphemy has appeared in the Holy See, and to compound the people's horror, the beast resembles a dragon. It is imperative that it be vanquished without delay, and to that end we have begun assembling a hunting party. Given that fear and despair may turn our allies against us, we are being stringent in whom we choose for this duty. Yet while we have confidence in the quality of our knights, the mission would greatly benefit for the presence of a battle mage, one who can stand unflinching in the face of our fell quarry. We would be hard-pressed to find an individual who fits that description better than you. Will you not lend us your strength and skill? You can count on me. Oh, very well. We are in your debt. Just a moment while I relay the glad tidings to command. It is settled. Upon arriving in Ishgard, please take yourself to the Aetheryte Plaza. Lord Otterol will be there to receive you. May the Fury speed your way. We haven't done much with Red Mage yet, so we're doing Red Mage. I mean, not since Stormblood. I have been expecting you. Words cannot well express how heartening it is to have you fighting beside us. Allow me to echo that sentiment. Greetings, my friend. Lest you wonder, Lord Autorel and I are leading the effort to deal with the blasphemy. With your capable self in the fold, I have no doubt that we shall succeed. Without further ado, I shall brief you on the situation. 'Twas a handful of days after the first beast appeared in Razatan. An Elizan man was observed at the hoplon on pillars, walking an unsteady gait. All of a sudden, he buckled over as if in pain, and before anyone knew what was happening, he had transformed into a terrible draconic beast. The mere sight of this, many who chanced to be present also turned, and regrettably the temple knights were forced to put them down. Blasphemy itself, however, took wing and fled. Profane Fafnir, we have chosen to call it, after the dragon man of Ishgardian myth. Since that day, the beast has often been sighted in the skies above Ishgard. It does not attack, only circles menacingly for a time ere disappearing again. Alas, these brief visitations are enough to cause more people to turn, and for fear and panic spread further. As part of our investigation, we have sought to identify the man who became the blasphemy, but thus far we have learned naught. We have, however, identified a common thread between those who subsequently turned. All were people of fervent faith, people such as priests and inquisitors. When the truth of our nation's history was laid bare, the legitimacy of the church was called into question. Many Ishgardians struggled to reconcile the revelations with their beliefs, and none more so than the pious. Such men and women, we posit, would be more susceptible to despair, and therefore the transformation. We must find a way to stop it. Ishgard has only just emerged from a 1,000-year war, and we cannot suffer another great tragedy, much less so soon. In order to maintain a better understanding of the situation, we intend to speak with a member of the clergy. Sole individual who survived witnessing the blasphemy's birth without being turned. Clem is his name, and he is a deacon at the St. Raymondaud's Cathedral. Come, let us seek him out there at once. Right. Ishgard. Lord Amaric, Lord Autorel, and the savior of Ishgard besides, you do me a great honor. I am Clem, and I serve as a deacon here at St. Raymond's Cathedral. I understand you were among those at the Hopland when the incident occurred. We give thanks to the Fury for your merciful preservation. We now seek to prevent the blasphemy from wreaking further havoc and would appreciate any details you can provide. Though we are to make you recall unpleasant memories, will you not recount to us what you witnessed that day? Very well. We are presently relocating the vault's libraries to the cathedral. In case you were unaware, we had finished delivering a batch of tomes and were on our way to bring over another. As we approached the Hopland, we noticed a young man walking unsteadily. No sooner had he come to an abrupt halt than he transformed into a draconic beast. The fiend fixed us with menacing glare, and it was all we could do to find our wits and flee. But to my compounding horror, my brethren who were with me began turning into monstrosities as well, one after another. Praise the fury that you, at least, were spared, Deacon Clem. I cannot imagine how frightening the experience must have been. Bishop Vartanal. Forgive me if I interrupt. I was informed that our stalwart protectors were present and wish to express my gratitude. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for your service. I pray that we shall soon be free of this scourge. Indeed, if there is aught we might do to aid your efforts, you need to but say it. You are most kind, Your Grace. That was Bishop Vartanois, the head of St. Raymond's and a member of the Synod. With the seat of the Archbishop vacant, he is in effect the highest authority on the Ishgardian Orthodox Church. This is so, yet in spite of his elevated station, he remains as kind and humble a man as any I have ever known. Very suspect. Like his grace, I would do all that I can to help shepherd our people through this uncertain time. To that end, there is a request I would make of you, if you can spare a moment to consider it. Of course, if it is within our power, we should be glad to offer you aid. Thank you. In the wake of the transformations, a group of clergymen fled the city in fear. Yet though they sought refuge in the wilderness, they put themselves at the mercy of the elements and fell fiends both. Given that the cause of the transformation is not clear, I think theirs was a decidedly unwise decision. I wish to set out and find them, but I am not trained in the ways of war. As such, I require those who are to accompany me in the search. So that is the way of it. Suffice it to say, we will help. Do you know whither your fellows may have headed? The Western Highlands, I believe, between Gorgain Mills and Hemlock. There is no shortage of abandoned dwellings in the area. Very well, time being of the essence, I propose we split up and scour separate areas. Billy, if you could escort the good deacon to Gorgain Mills, Lord Otteral and I will tend to Hemlock. I'd say they made it pretty far. Little toe. You're going to be turned already? Is this the one where we find a sail hiding? Been a while. You. Ah, I see you found them. Yes, and none the worse for wear. Thank you. Thank the Fury. My friends, forgive us if we have given cause for alarm. We come out of concern for your well-being. Though we understand why you quit the city, we fear you may have placed yourselves at a greater risk by coming here. His Grace Bishop Vatanois, too, worries for your health and prays for your swift return. So please, will you not allow us to escort you to the Holy See? I assure you, you will be much safer there than in this wretched place. Servants of the Fury will never be safe in the city, don't you see? This is your fault. You and your accursed revolution. The people disdain us, mock us behind our backs, and spit in our faces. Now someone is conspiring to transform us into monstrosities, enemies of the church. I'll wager emboldened by your deeds. So no, I will not go back to Ishgard. I'd sooner freeze to death than suffer your pity. You won't have to wait for that. What? All I have ever done was in service to her. I am a good man. She cannot forsake me. Ah, alone preserved. We cannot allow him to harm any others. Give chase and do what you must. We will remain here and keep the others calm. Yay. Is it done? Thanks. What happened is most regrettable, but we must be grateful that no one else came to harm. While you were gone, the deacon was able to convince the others to return to the city. Let us escort them back at once and then reconvene at the congregation to reconsider our next course of action. For our purposes, we have the use of the strategy room. Announce yourself to the guard without, and he will show you in. Lords Amaric and Ortwell wait you within the strategy room. Will you be joining them now? Proceed to the strategy room, yes. Lest you wonder, we have taken the clergymen to St. Raymond's to rest and recover. Truth be told, the thought that they may still succumb to despair in turn remains at the forefront of my mind. Yet the risk would be greater still were we to keep them at arm's length and deny them the comfort of the church. Indeed, from the words he spoke, that Inquisitor yearned for the days of old. He and others like him can scarcely be blamed. As the truth of the nation's founding and the Archbishop's machinations were made public knowledge, the Church has been in turmoil. That we have made great strides in separating religion and state, there has been far less progress in the reformation of the Church. For our faith has been everything to us, our purpose and our comfort. 'Tis not an easy thing to reconcile one's beliefs with the betrayal of our spiritual leaders. Thus torn between their hearts and minds, many Ishgardians feel lost, and none more so than members of the clergy whose faith was once unshakable. Little wonder then that the most dedicated and devout are like to turn. So it seems, but further investigation is needed ere we draw a definite conclusion. With the war's end, Ishgard has set out on a new path. The choices we make now shall determine our course for the future. Come what may, we dare not squander the chance we have fought so hard to attain. Once the returned clergymen have sufficiently calmed down, I shall have the deacon speak with them, that we might gain insight into their individual plights. Good. Meanwhile, I shall take the opportunity to brief my men on recent developments. Pray take a moment's rest, my friend. You have earned it. When you are ready to continue our work, you may seek us out here. Level 85, our aching souls, complete. Level 86, no forgiveness, no deliverance. Autorel is eagerly awaiting Deacon Clem's report. Your timing could not be better. Deacon Clem has finished speaking with the rescued clergymen and will be here shortly to share his findings. Lord Amaric too is on his way. Let us wait for them. Deacon Clem, we thank you for making the inquiries on our behalf. It was no imposition in the least. As I said, I am glad to do all I can. It is our understanding that those we escorted back were all close acquaintances of the Inquisitor who turned. Like him, they too had been the subject of harassment by certain quarters of the populace. Is this correct? It is, I am afraid, and they are far from alone. Many of the cloth were once afforded respect and deference as servants of Halone, but now they are openly reviled by many. We were complicit in perpetuating terrible lies, this is true, but we too were misled. We too are victims, yet we are regarded by some as criminals. Well, do I understand the people's anger, but it saddens me to think that they would thus out at their fellow man, especially when we need solidarity most of all. Though I can imagine your plight, I would not presume to fully grasp your pain. Will you tell us of the challenges you and yours have had to face since the war's end? Like all sons and daughters of Ishgard, we dreamed of peace in our lifetime, but now that it has come, we find we have little cause to rejoice. Our faith has long been the foundation of our lives, and overnight that foundation has been crippled by fractures, beyond repair for some. To learn that we had been deceived, and that we had unwittingly deceived others in turn, was devastating. We who had once been shepherds to men found ourselves lost lambs, bereft of surety and wanting for guidance. We have languished in darkness, all of us. Yet I have faith that the church will redeem itself and that I will find new path and again become a beacon of hope for the people. I see. Thank you for sharing this with us. Your testimony has confirmed our suspicions. According to our allies, that which causes people to turn is none other than their despair and anguish. If it wasn't before, it is now abundantly clear why members of the clergy are among the transformed. That you did not, I believe, is due to your unwavering faith in the church. In light of this, we would ask for your continued cooperation. Of course, anything to help my brethren. Now that we have established the cause, that leaves us with the mystery of the profane Fafnir's identity. Progenitor of these troubles, could he too have been a man of the cloth? From what I recall of his garb, I doubt it. He was dressed in the common fashion and inadequately against the cold besides. It is said that something of the individual may remain in the blasphemy, influencing its behavior. We can determine what instincts drive profane Fafnir. We may learn who it once was, and this knowledge, I believe, will prove vital in our efforts to stop it. Deacon Clem, we ask that you reach out to your fellow clergymen. Please do what you can to ease their anxieties. Understood. As I have ever done, I shall provide what comfort I can to those in need. Meanwhile, we must make it a priority to identify the blasphemy. To that end, I would seek out more eyewitnesses. Hoplin is a busy place at any given time. Some ordinary citizens are bound to have been present at that tragic event unfolded. I propose we make inquiries in the pillars. If you could attend to the Hoplin, Lord Ortorel, I will look into the surrounding areas. Start this way and run around. The dragon that appeared at the Hoplin? I saw with my own eyes. One moment at Nelizin, the next a terrible beast. He was a heretic, I take it. Oh. Where? Can't go any further. Oh, on the bridge. I was like, can't go any further up. I wasn't present for the incident at the Hoplin, but a young man poorly dressed for the cold, that I did see. I recall him well because an aide from St. Vondros was searching for him. He was a patient at the infirmary and by coincidence had the same name. No, I didn't see that dragon, nor would I have wished to, frightful as it sounds. They say it wasn't a Dravanian attack, but if not, then what was it? They're like down, huh? Run around. There you are. Did your search yield any fruit? Patient of the Firmament's infirmary, you say? Among those with whom I spoke, one claims to have witnessed an individual fitting that description, a man walking in a stupor who did not seem to feel cold. If he had wandered straight out of the infirmary, it would explain his state of attire. Yes, I dare say we have found our blasphemy, but to think that his name should be Vondro. It is the same as the former Heaven's Ward commander Sir Vondro de Rochemont, for whom the infirmary is named. Sir Vondro, however, retired from his station at the ripe old age some years ago. It is not like to have been him. In any case, we have a lead. I shall head to the infirmary at once. Pray wait for me in the broom. Broom. This is Loverick, the aide who is in charge of Andro. You found him? Oh, please say you have. We have not, I am afraid, but we seek to and hope that you could tell us more about him. May we ask how he came to be at the infirmary? He was found by a patrol in the Central Highlands. After being treated for his hurts, he was brought to us for convalescence. Being in the prime of his years, he had been doing well, but then... Prime of his years. By all accounts, he is no old man. It seems safe to assume it isn't Sir Vandro. No, he's definitely a different person, as I told Lord Arturo. And though he gave his name as Vandro, he seemed rather confused and we had no means to confirm his identity. In his state, he shouldn't be wandering about on his own. Please, you must find him. The man who recently turned into a beast at the Hopland, we regret to say it may have been Vandro. What? No, how can this be? Is there aught else you can tell us? Things he may have said or done while in your care? While he was still unconscious, he would often ramble, though most of it was incoherent. He mentioned the Archbishop many times. Oh, and he spoke of a bishop too, Bishop Vartanor. I assumed he was a pious man, given this. I see. Thank you for your cooperation. We will continue our investigation, and should we confirm what became of Vandro, inform you forthwith. Let us return to the congregation for now. Do-do-do. Mystery remains, but we are one step closer to identifying the man who became Profane Fafnir. Indeed, though he did not at first appear to be a member of the clergy, his words betray a fervent faith. How curious that he should speak not only of the Archbishop, but Bishop Vartanor specifically. Perhaps he was personally acquainted with His Grace. In light of the possibility, I believe we should speak with him directly. Agreed, I will request an audience, but His Grace has many demands upon his time. It may be a while before we are seen. Should you have other business, pray feel free to attend to them in the meantime. Level 86, no forgiveness, no deliverance. Complete. Level 87, only justice, only vengeance. The look of relief upon Autoral's face bespeaks your timely arrival. Excellent timing as ever. Deacon Clem has just sent word that Bishop Vartanor will see us now, by which I mean right this instant. It's extremely short notice, I know, but it would not do to miss this opportunity to learn how he and Vandro may be connected. Not wishing to keep His Grace waiting, Lord Amaric is already on his way to St. Raymond's Cathedral. Come, let us hurry there ourselves. Seems His Grace has yet to arrive. My lords, I am so sorry. I informed His Grace that you were making your way hither. Shortly before you arrived, he recalled that he had urgent business and had to leave the cathedral at once. Cannot have yet gone far, though, so if you wish to search for him in the hopes you can still steal a moment of this time, grant us an audience only to depart with such haste. What business could be so pressing? Well now, that even the savior of Ishgard should be here. Your Grace, perhaps 'tis simply our misunderstanding, but we were under the impression that you had granted us an audience. Lord Speaker, rest assured I was just about to return to the cathedral. There's no need, Your Grace. This will not take long. As you may have heard, we are investigating a young man named Vondro. Is he known to you? No, I cannot say he is. With the exception of the former Archimandrite, I am sure I know no one by that name. Mine and the Archbishops are known to many, yes, perhaps. Perhaps his youth took inspiration from public services over which we presided. Goodly soul that he is. Oh, glad am I that his faith was of comfort to him in this sickness. I pray to Halone that he will soon be found in good health. Now then, if there was nothing else, I shall return to my duties. Echo. He's a liar. Fear not, your eminence, I shall carry on your legacy. We have completed the preparations as per your instructions, but are you certain this will work? It will, it must. Lord Amaric spoke the truth when he revealed the Archbishop sought primal powers to strengthen the people's faith. I could not bring myself to believe it, not at first, but in the course of cataloging His Eminence's personal articles, I came upon his journal. Therein he had written that, through abundant ether and fervent prayer, it is possible to make gods of men. All the power we require lies in this place, this as its law. By channeling the essential elements into the soulless flesh and sword we found, we shall summon forth King Thornton and his Knights 12, and by his blessing Ishgard shall be restored to its former glory. What is this? It's just an ordinary man, scarcely changed from before. His Eminence, I must protect. No, this isn't right. Confound it, perhaps I overlooked something. I must return to the Holy See and review the journal. Grace, what shall we do with this thing? Leave it, 'tis a failure without use or value. The denizens of this place will deal with it soon enough. Are you well? Were you perchance granted a vision of the past? An attempted summoning of King Thornton and his Knights 12. Your Grace, you should know full well that summoning is strictly forbidden. You will accompany us to the congregation and explain yourself. I have dedicated my life to the church, conducted my affairs in accordance with the scriptures, and taught others to do likewise. But you took it all from us, tore down everything that defined us. You do not know how it feels to have your very existence rejected, to be forsaken by your community, to be denied by your society. Well, I deny you and this justice. I deny Ishgard where the church has no place. I refuse to accept it. Do you hear me? I refuse to accept it. Your Grace, no. Gonna need a new bishop. That it should come to violence yet again. Would that your hand had not been forced, my lord. Deacon Clem should not be alone at this time. I shall remain with him while tending to the aftermath. When things have settled, I will return to the congregation. Pray go on ahead and get some rest. How fares the deacon? Well enough, given the circumstances. Though understandably shaken, he is more determined than ever to help his fellows. Truly, he is possessed of a stout heart. But to think that even a member of the Synod could succumb to despair and turn. The crisis gripping the church is far graver than I had imagined. Pushing for such an abrupt separation of religion and state, we may have exacerbated the growing divide between the clergy and the general populace. Will you recount in full that which you witnessed in your vision? That he should seek to use one of Alec's unholy abominations to create a primal. Yet that which manifested was not like the being you fought, but rather retained the form of a man, one driven by the desire to protect the Archbishop. You may safely assume the bishop did not have sufficient ether. Bereft of Nidhogg's eye, the sword Ascalon no longer has such power. Nor does that of the warring triad remain to be harnessed, thanks to your valorous intervention. But if the summoning failed, how did the clone come to possess life, and in what purpose drives it? Lack of ether notwithstanding, the necessary components were present for a summoning. Perhaps the ritual itself was a success, and the vessel, though imperfect, arose as a champion of the Archbishop. Yet how did he come to be in the Central Highlands? You believe that this clone and the man who became the blasphemy are one and the same? Nay, I merely speculate, yet considering what we know of the clone and Vandro, it would seem a likely possibility. Whatever the truth may be, it will not elude us forever, but first I must lay some groundwork for the next phase of our investigation. God's permitting, I will have news to share ere long, so pray look in on us when you can. Level 87, only justice, only vengeance. Level 88, wills unending, faith unbending. Arturel has the identity of the blasphemy on his mind. You are ever a sight for sore eyes. Ill tidings, my friends. I dispatched the Temple Knights to find the clergymen who aided in Bishop Vartanaw's summoning attempt. Regrettably, when confronted, all turned and had to be put down. Without their accounts, how then to ascertain that the clone and Vandro are the same individual? Maintaining the assumption that they are, perhaps we should instead consider how Vandro may have found his way to Kurthus. According to Zilli's vision, he was abandoned in Az's law, but what did he do afterwards? And there is but one way to ascertain the truth. We follow his trail. I shall go and search for the clone in Az's law. If he is still there, then we are dealing with a different individual. Splendid idea. We leave the floating continent in your capable hands. Meanwhile, Zilli and I shall retrace Vandro's steps whence he first appeared. Upon being found in the Central Highlands, he was taken to Camp Dragonhead. Let us begin by making inquiries there. Investigating the stranger we found, are you? I wasn't involved myself, so I can't tell you much about the fellow. In case it is of interest, earlier the same day I caught sight of an airship flying dangerously low. It soon disappeared into the brewing snowstorm, looking none too steady. Your exchange with Theobaldin has taught you about an airship flying low. Well now, if it isn't the late Lord Horshafaud's dear friend, is there something you require? Yes, the mystery man. I was among those who tended him. He was not tired for the snow, much less the snowstorm in which he had been caught, and was suffering from frostbite. People are extremely cold. They may mistakenly feel that they are warm and disrobed. That might explain his state of undress. Your exchange with Nene has taught you about Vandro's state when he was found. Nope, here. Ah, 'tis ever an honor to receive you. What brings you to our humble camp this day? An injured man who was found out in the wilds? Yes, I know the one. I was with the patrol that chanced into him north of here at Providence Point. He was unconscious and in a bad way, and we hurriedly bore him back to camp. After doing what we could for him, we sent him on to the city. The exchange with Yael has taught you about where Vandro was found. There you are. Were you able to learn aught of interest? Mysterious man found collapsed after an airship was seen flying low. Yes, the accounts I heard are consistent with yours. I, for one, am curious about the fate of this unknown airship. To that end, I have arranged a pair of black chocobos for us to more efficiently to scour the area. We shall contain our search to Providence Point, where Vandro is said to have been found. You are ready? Let us be off. Mount a black chocobo and begin searching, yes. Yay. Nothing so far. Let us continue northeast. How'd we miss that? By the Fury, it's the blasphemy. His Eminence must protect His Eminence. Ah, you're finally awake. Alone be praised. How are you feeling? Strong enough to speak? Can you tell me your name? My name is Zephyrin. No, Scharberg. Or was it Velgwain? Holocrene? So many names swirling in my mind and voices that reject them. Is there none that they will accept? Are you all right? Vondro. My name is Vondro. Well, now, that's the same as our infirmary. I dare say fate has guided you to us. So, Vondro, if you are feeling up to a little conversation, can you tell me about yourself? Anything else you remember? Anything at all? Proud son of House Zamal. I, a devout servant of Halone who lives for the rush of battle. Pleasure in inflicting pain, the attentions of maidens, to fight beside my brothers in arms. Low-born runt whose every effort went unrewarded, whose very name disqualified him from ever leading the temple knights, but his eminence raised me up, granted me a place at his side. From that day forth I pledged my sword to his service, pledged my very being, my life to be offered up in defense of his. I am a knight of the Heavens Ward, sworn to protect and serve the Archbishop. Oh, you're a knight. Forgive me if that sounded rude, but I had no idea, and while I realize your memories may be a bit muddled, I'm afraid I must inform you that the Heavens Ward have not been seen in quite some time and are presumed dead, and the Archbishop, well, he is most certainly no longer of this world. But the important thing is you're safe now, and we'll help you get back on your feet. Speaking of which, let me bring some food and water. You must be absolutely famished. The Archbishop dead? No, no, this cannot be. How can I still be alive when he is not? Must find him. Tilly! For the glory of King Thornton. Better run. Another vision, I take it? Let us make for Ishgard. I expect that Lord Ortorel will return soon, if he has not already, and we should both be glad to hear your tale. Ah, Zilly, I pray your search was more productive than mine own. We found him. Everyone is here, excellent. So were you able to find our clone in Azizla? Hey, naught but the discarded Ascalon remained. How fared you with your own efforts in the Central Highlands? In the course of retracing Vondro's steps, we came upon the wreck of the Soleel. Suspect he found the vessel abandoned in Azizla and tried to use it to return to Ishgard. But he crashed en route and was subsequently rescued by a patrol from Camp Dragonhead. So it would seem, and the Archbishop's airship was not the only thing we found. Profane Fafnir was there too. The creature chose to flee, but not before Zilly had a vision of Vondro's past. Go on, my friend, share with us what you witnessed. All the pieces fit, and it is as you surmised. My lord, Vondro and the clone are one and the same, and in his despair he turned into the blasphemy. But the confusion he exhibited when asked his name, 'tis as if he wasn't sure of his own identity. According to the Scions, primals retain the memories of their previous incarnations. From this, it may be assumed that the clone harbors the memories of all those who became King Thornton and his Knights 12. Though he struggled to reconcile these conflicting memories, he managed to settle on the name Vondro. Voices within were clearly in agreement when facing Zilly, the mere sight of whom drove the blasphemy to flee. Above all, however, they shared in the desire to protect the Archbishop. This desire was seared into Vondro's very being, and when he learned that he no longer had a purpose, the Heavens Ward took up arms against us in Ishgard. By their hand were we robbed of one of our finest knights and a dear friend. Even so, I would not wish such terrible fate upon them. The self-same fate inflicted upon full many clergymen, and a fate I fear ordinary citizens will succumb to if we fail to act. People will not soon forget the betrayal of our church's leadership, nor should they, but absent the comfort and stability once afforded to them by the institution, many have become lost and are all too vulnerable to despair. People don't have to forget, but they need to move forward. The church can still be a source of comfort, but things need to change. I thought as much myself, my friend, but to hear you say it as well, indeed, when the ground upon which we stand crumbles, we must find the strength to move forward, even should it cause us pain to do so. Lord Autorel, at the next house session, I shall call for an ecumenical council to be held. My lord, such a gathering is reserved for... Oh, you intend for the church to codify a new doctrine. Since the separation of religion and state, we have refrained from interfering in church affairs, but if the church is to remain a part of Ishgardian society and continue serving the people, it must reconsider its role and formally address recent revelations. I would call for this council not as the Lord Speaker, but as a humble adherent of the faith. Long had I considered whether such measures were necessary, but lacked the courage to set them in motion. I now have it thanks to you. I shall tend to the necessary preparations at once. Among other things, we must reach out to those of the clergy who are amenable to reform. I ask for your patience in the meantime. Level 88, wills unending, faith unbending, complete. Level 89, O mighty fury, guide us to victory. The set of Artoral's jaw betrays the hint of anxiety. Zilly, owing to Lord Americ's swift action, I am pleased to say that the Ecumenical Council will soon be held. In case you are unaware, the Council is the highest assembly in the Ishgardian Orthodox Church, its purpose to deliberate and decide upon doctrine. The previous one was held no less than 80 years ago, and 4 archbishops have since come and gone, and such most Ishgardians know little of it save that which they have read in their historical records. Traditionally, the Archbishop and members of the Synod would meet behind closed doors. In light of the Bishop's Vartano's fate, however, this time the doors will be thrown open to the public. Indeed, for the first time in history, all men and women of the faith may have a hand in shaping the mission and the teachings of the Church. It is my hope that you will also join us in this endeavor. Deacon Clem, allow me to express our gratitude for your efforts in facilitating the council. We appreciate the difficulty of your position. Merely heed my conscience and my faith, my lord. Acting in Bishop Vartano's stead, I shall do all within my power to see that the church may serve the people once more. Where's the Lord Speaker, if I may ask? He stepped outside for a moment, saying that he wished to gather his thoughts ahead of the council. The hour draws nigh, however. I shall proceed to the vault with the good deacon. In the meantime, may I ask you to find Lord Americ? He should be at the last vigil, I believe. Oh, 'tis you, my friend. Is it time already? I see. My apologies for making you come and fetch me. I've been thinking on the path I have chosen to walk and on those who have been left behind as a consequence of my actions. Those who died fighting, those burdened with boundless grief, those deprived of position and purpose. Like any nation, Ishgard is made up of disparate souls with disparate beliefs. Without an enemy to unite us, we recall the differences we once set aside out of necessity and find amongst our old friends new ideological foes. The future I had envisioned, 'tis far more difficult to secure than I ever imagined. What must I do for our people to live in harmony, for our nation to move forward as one? Such questions I have been pondering. We should begin making our way to the council. Shall we continue our conversation while we walk? Ready? Then let us be off. If it is agreeable, I would like to look on Fortom's manor. Emmerich is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave Emmerich behind by entering a different area or by speaking with him and selecting the option to part ways. If you wish to have Emmerich accompany you again, return and speak with him at the original location. Feels like another age that you and yours were no more than foreign wards of House Forton. In actual fact, it may be considered so. For your coming set in motion a chain of events that brought an end to the Dragonsong War, ushering in a new age of harmony. You paved the way for meaningful change in our nation, and for that you shall ever have my gratitude. Now then, shall we continue on to the architects? King Thornton and his Knights 12, the murderers of Ratatoskers. Since the truth of their ancient crime came to light, many have demanded that these images be torn down. Yet though what our founding fathers did was wrong, neither is it right to simply expunge them and their deeds from history. To do so would be to deny our people's part in what followed for 1,000 years. We have the chance to forge a new future, but we as a nation must decide how we will confront our past. Forgive me, I was lost in thought yet again. Let us join Deacon Clem at the vault. There you are, my friends. The council is about to convene. Let us take our place in the audience hall. Esteemed members of the clergy and honored adherents of the faith, I thank you all for your attendance. In recent days, our nation has been racked by a series of tragedies. Those among us who do Halone's work have been transformed into abominations. This dreadful phenomenon has been brought about by the final days, and it is upon our despair and anguish that it feeds. Thus, if we are to prevent further tragedy, we must strive to ensure that all Ishgardians, clergymen and citizens alike, abide with peace and love for one another in their hearts. To that end, I have called this ecumenical council, the first in generations, that we might together determine a path forward for the church and our society as a whole. Since antiquity, the Ishgardian Orthodox Church served the people in two respects, as Fury's spear to strike at the heart of dragonkind, and as the Fury's shield to safeguard the souls of men. But now that we are at peace with the Dravanians, the church need no longer serve as the spear, and so we must now reconsider how we might better serve as a shield for our brethren. The hierarchy must be reformed, and for that we need accountability. The upper echelon must be stripped of rank at a minimum and investigations conducted, trials held, the evidence is sufficiently damning, and then we may turn our attention to their doctrine of lies. As our predecessors did before us, we of the Synod have ever sought to interpret the scriptures to the best of our ability and thence conveyed Halone's will to the people. Such fervent pursuit of retribution at the expense of doctrine would come also at the expense of our faith. Have we won the war to lose our souls? Oh, Helone, are we outside your grace? This bodes ill. At this rate, someone might turn. Since the war is in, the Church and the faithful have stood at a crossroads, unable to take the next step forward. His Grace Bishop Vartanar, may he walk in Halone's halls, was one such soul, and his longing for simpler times he resorted to using forbidden magics. He succumbed to despair. In our minds, we renounce the lies upon which our nation was built, but in our hearts, we yearn for the righteousness, misguided though it was, that gave us comfort and purpose for so long. So let us not forget who we were. Let us confront the mistakes of the past and learn from them, that we do not repeat the mistakes of our forefathers. As fervently as we believed in our sacred duty, we struggle to accept the Church's deception and embrace change. The legacy of Thornton weighs heavy, and there is a temptation to simply cast it aside like a mantle that suits us no longer. Yet that would dishonor the sacrifice of those who went before, countless souls who served the people with purest intent, and so heavy though it may be, let us together bear this burden as we set forth anew. Our friend risked life and limb to reveal the truth to us, the truth that our legends and our scripture were tainted by betrayal, but not wholly corrupted. Though the great walls and towering spires of our city may have been built with murder and deception, they rest upon a foundation immutable and true, our devotion to Helone, whom we have worshipped since before our forefathers settled these lands. Church is a font of practical wisdom, and its teachings guide us in our daily lives. Such things define our faith no less than the lies. We can acknowledge our sins without renouncing our religion. Aye, and without rejecting who we are. Comprehensive review of scripture as well as historical literature will be necessary. Revisions as appropriate must be made to ensure that the truth of our past is preserved for future generations. With your peerless knowledge of the church doctrine, I dare say none is better suited to leading that effort than you. I also expect that many eyes will be required to pore over all the tomes, and I know many idle men and women of faith who would jump at the chance to do Halone's work once more. That day so very long ago, I had no answer to my father's words, but it seems the people had it within them all along. I have to go kill this dragon. Council went better than I had dared hope. Truly, while the details remained to be decided, 'twas a resounding success. Your words helped everyone to find common ground, and I know now not how to thank you. Much credit must go to Zillia. In the face of great hardship, she never did she hesitate to press on, and our people have not forgotten this. Indeed, well do I remember the day you flew into Ishgard upon a dragon's back, and making possible the impossible, you inspired us all. In you we glimpsed the fury, a vision of courage in the face of uncertainty. Looking to your example, we shall endeavor to bring about change to the church for the future of all Ishgardians. There will, of course, still be those souls who struggle to rise above the mire of despair, but my fellows and I shall be there to take their hand in faith and love. For what is faith if not salvation? Well, I had best return to the cathedral. We have much and more to do. Ah, but ere I forget, I have tracked down that which you requested. Some repairs will be necessary, but it will be seen to with all haste. I had tasked the deacon with finding a certain item. You see, a secret weapon, one might say. Given what we know of profane Fafnir, I suspect it will be of great use in our hunt. Once the repairs are complete, we shall be ready to strike. With the church having reached an accord with the people, the risk of more clergymen turning is greatly diminished. We may now focus entirely on the blasphemy. This time we freed Vondro from his torment. Rest while you can, for I dare say the coming battle will demand the best of us. Level 89, O mighty fury, guide us to victory. Complete. Level 90, ever march heavensward. Artoriel has his sights set on profane Fafnir. Glad tidings, since the Ecumenical Council, not a single soul has turned. Safe in that knowledge, we need only think of how to hunt down the blasphemy. Ah, you are here too, excellent. I am pleased to say that the secret weapon is ready. We may now look to dealing with profane Fafnir. As you will recall, when last we encountered it, it was lying in wait by the Solio. An instinct driven by its inherited memories, I believe. It seeks to protect that which it most strongly associates with the Archbishop. In all likelihood, 'twas this selfsame motive that compelled it to come to the Holy See. From the skies above, it keeps watch over the Holy Vault. When next it descends, we shall exploit this instinct by using the secret weapon to lure it to the chancel. What exactly is this secret weapon? It is none other than the Fury's grace, the holy crozier of the Archbishop. Suspecting that Bishop Vartano had retrieved it from Azis Law, I had Deacon Clem search his private quarters. My suspicions proved correct. The crozier in hand, I shall make an irresistible bait for profane Fafnir. My lord, that is an unconscionable risk. There is no telling how the blasphemy will react. Indeed, but we can be confident that I will command his undivided attention, thus ensuring that no more of our citizens are placed in harm's way. The Heaven's Ward are the Archbishop's shields, and the Temple Knights are the people's. As leader of the Order, the risk is mine to bear. All the Knights of the Heaven's Ward fell in Azis Law. As a vessel for their memories, Vondro may be considered the last of their number. Let us go, then, and relieve him of his, nay, their duty. Let us see to our preparations and proceed to the vault. We finish this once and for all. To the vault. If you are ready, then let us set forth. You need but say the word. Duty calls. Commence battle forever. March heavensward. Level sync is in effect. If you are above the maximum allowed level, will be synced as follows. Level 90, item level 550. Proceed. The beast has come. Now is our chance. Make ready. To me, my knights. Blasphemy, profane Fafnir. For the glory of King Thordan. No, you are not he. A trick. It is a trick. Forgive me, Sir Vandro, but for the sake of all Ishgardians, we must strike you down.
It ends here! You underestimate me. There.
No. Why did you switch to the one I was in? He was standing in the other one. Makes no sense. Why?
We must stand our ground! You underestimate me.
Okay.
I will not falter!
Holy hell. Where are we going? Right here. Right here. Okay. So we're good.
This knight does not yield!
Oh, come on, just die already. That's it. Alright. Haven't played Red Mage in a while, so I messed up my rotation a little bit. Finally, it is over. Thus ends the tale of the Heavens Ward. Let it not be forgotten. It was wrong of them to conceal the truth of our nation's founding, to abet the Archbishop in his machinations. Yet in peering into their hearts, one thing became clear. They too had succumbed to primal manipulation. They too were victims, flawed men, aye, and not without sin, but Ishgardians brave and true, as we all aspire to be. Having triumphed in the battle of ideals, I have a responsibility to all our people. Their hopes and dreams, their sorrow and suffering are mine to bear, and bear them I shall. For you had not vanquished King Thornton, nor had I erred in but one of my choices, and may well have been the first to succumb to despair, to be reborn to blasphemy. You wouldn't have turned, not you. A ridiculous notion. I'm more like to become a beast than you. I'm already a beast. What? Thank you, my friend, for having such confidence in me. My apologies, 'twas not mine intent to wax sentimental. Our work here is done. Let us return to the congregation. To the congregation. This one was actually pretty quick comparatively. They're all roughly the same, but permit me to offer my gratitude for helping us to overcome not only the blasphemy, but the despair which spawned it. But this is only the beginning. On the face of it, we may have made tremendous strides in breaking down ancient barriers within our society, but there yet remain great rifts to be bridged. It's no easy thing to rise above a lifetime of preconceptions and prejudice. I myself have struggled to do so, as you must know. But I shan't give up. In the honor of my house, I will do everything in my power to build a new Ishgard, one in which all people can see eye to eye regardless of birth and station. Now then, I believe the deacon has some words for you too. Pray lend him an ear. My lady, may I say how glad I am that you are safe and well. Just before you arrived, Lord Aymeric explained to me the true nature of the man who became the blasphemy. Poor confused creature was born of the church's mistakes, and on behalf of the clergy, I give you my heartfelt thanks for laying it to rest. As we work to reform our institutions and rebuild our relationships with the people, we will remember and pray for all those who have fallen in service to the faith. We shall pray for you as well, wheresoever your path may lead. May the Fury ever watch over and keep you. I shall leave it at that. Then Lord Aymeric too wishes to speak, and 'twould not do to keep him waiting. Silly Lord Ortorel, I thank you for the vital roles you played in ridding us of the profane Fafnir. As ever, the sight of you in combat was nothing short of inspiring. With no further reported instances of people turning and the blasphemy itself no more, I should like to believe we are free of the scourge of despair. My brethren and I shall labor to see that it ever remains so by fighting to dispel the darkness in men's hearts. And I shall fight with you, not only as a speaker of the House of Lords or the Lord Commander of the Temple Knights, but as a man of faith in our God and in our people. Together, let us strive to fill our nation with hope. By now you will be sick unto death of being thanked, but I must nonetheless express an additional word of gratitude. Full oft have you saved our nation, our people. Speak not only of our lives, but our hearts and minds as well. You have given us a great gift, that of opportunity and choice, and if we are to repay you for it, we as a nation must take full advantage of our freedom to dictate a new course forward into a brighter future. What forward means we may not always agree upon, but as fellow Ishgardians we shall find a way to rise above our differences and stand united. This is the nation that I will strive to build, this I swear to you. Given all that you have done for us, I am loath to impose further, but may I trouble you to bear word of our success to our officer in Razatan. We will of course be sending a report, but there is no substitute for a first-hand account. Our allies would benefit from the additional details you can provide as well. But thanks again, my friend, and may the Fury speed your way. Razatan! Ah, my lady, by your return, I hope the hunt for the blasphemy was a success. That you would vanquish the beast comes as little surprise, but that this occasion would serve as impetus for the church to embark upon a path of reform is incredible. I will share these joyous tidings with our allies without delay. If I may speak candidly, I must confess to being a great admirer of yours. When you have a moment, I should like to hear about some of your adventures, if you would do me the honor. For the present, however, in my official capacity as the Ishgardian delegate, I offer you my humblest thanks for your immeasurable service to our nation. Level 90, Ever March Heavensward. Complete. You can now dye the job-specific gear for level 90 magical range DPS. Achievement unlocked, More Than Fear.